Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unity of Wimberley, Texas live stream. It is Sunday, February the 7th, 2021. My name is Kit Holmes. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we're just going to start out by affirming our oneness with that big old thing we call spirit. Here we go. Ready? I am one with the power, one with the wisdom, one with all around me, down below and up above. I am one with the power, one with the wisdom. I am one with the presence of universal love. I create with the power, create with the wisdom, create with all around me, down below and up above. I create with the power, create with the wisdom. I create with the presence of universal love. I am grateful for the power, grateful for the wisdom, grateful all around me, down below and up above. I am grateful for the power, grateful for the wisdom. I am grateful for the presence of universal love. I am one with the power, one with the wisdom, one with all around me, down below and up above. I am one with the power, one with the wisdom. I am one with the presence of universal love. I am one with the presence of universal love.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And before I begin, I want to say happy birthday, Jan Govain. We love you, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Now, will you please join me as we affirm our statement of faith together? There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And now let us unite our spirits as we hold this vision for our church. We are an open-hearted spiritual community, powerfully transforming our world by honoring the sacred in all. And we practice this mission. Inspired by our shared spiritual awakening, we offer practical teachings that empower healthy, abundant, and meaningful living. Ernest Holmes said, "It is often very difficult for us to realize that we are living in a timeless universe. And the fact is that as far as the infinite is concerned, everything exists to it as a present reality, bound neither by the past nor by the future. Rather, life is something that is eternally made new. Behold, I make all things new." Today's reading is from Science of Mind's Guide for Spiritual Living for Sunday, February 7th, 2021, entitled A Fresh Start by Reverend Dr. Sharon Hudson. Have you ever felt you would like to wipe the slate clean, have a fresh start? When I was in high school, there was a time when I wished I could just move somewhere else and start all over again, leave the past behind. Ah, a new me. The good news is that now I know I have the power to do just that without having to move somewhere else. How I see myself and the stories I tell about myself create my experience in life. Holmes writes, "We are all carrying the negative experiences of our past into the future merely because we have not disconnected them from our minds. If we are creating a negative future, it is because we have not changed our thought about it. What I know is, and there is within us, the self that has never made a mistake, has never been hurt. It is it is the essence of our true being. It is from this place that I want to live my life. We understand that our thoughts and feelings create our experience, virtual creating our reality. Therefore, if I view myself and the world from this place of innocence and wholeness, I am free to create the rich and rewarding life that is called me. My mind dwells on this view of myself, all else falls away, free from the past and return to a sense of wholeness. My life is bright and right before me. And the affirmation is, I clearly see the wholeness and beauty within myself. Free from what has been, I see a bright future that unfolds easily. And now, with our gathering prayer, Jan McGowan.
Thank you, Leah. Good morning, everyone. So this morning, let us move into our heart center. And an easy way to do this, as Kit reminded us in our Wednesday night study group, what the brain does for what God does with the brain. When we yawn, it helps us to be centered, grounded. It gives us oxygen and a moment to relieve, just to be stress-free. So go ahead. I won't do it, maybe. Go ahead and just yawn and settle in comfortably, taking that long, slow, deep, yawny breath. I see it back in the back. Awesome. And we focus on the light of love this morning, our heart center. The power of magnetism, harmony, and unity. The Bible tells us God is love. Those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Breathe. Now from Rumi, love is like a river. Step into it. Charles Fillmore reminds us that God is love in everybody and everything. We become loving by permitting that which is God to find expression individually within ourselves, within our words and our actions. And so this day, may we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be peaceful, at ease, happy, and well. And so it is.
Thank you so much, Jan. Come with me, and you'll see a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Thank you. I love that song. Good morning, everybody, again. Pure imagination. Our friend, Mr. Albert Einstein. Whoa, I just about tipped over into the piano. Got lost in my imagination, I suppose. That was weird. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. I'm going to invite you, before I get into this talk, if you have something to write with, if you want to write some notes on this. There's a few points, but I'm also going to take us into a meditation at the end of this talk where you will probably want to write down some notes for yourself, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So today, it's all in your head. We are talking about the 6 mental faculties that we were endowed with from the minute we stepped into this or crawled into this or were birthed into this world. We have these 6 mental faculties. It's a crazy day already. I just don't know what's happening. It's all in my head. So I'm going to take a deep breath as Jan took us into that beautiful prayer, to breathe into the space. And this is really important because it's the breathing part that brings us back to that center, to shut off some of the monkey mind. So our 6 mental faculties, we're going to start with imagination. And there is actually 2 kinds of imagination. There's what we call synthetic imagination, which is when we go into our imaginations, we are pulling up things that we've already experienced in our life, memories that we already have, things that we are going to build upon. For example, a simple chair. And you know how many iterations of chairs there might be in the world for different purposes, different uses, all of those things. So synthetic imagination is when you literally sit down in your chair and go, wow, this one's not comfortable. I think I will improve upon the design. That's synthetic imagination. Creative imagination is that thing that we call genius. It is being in that space, free and clear, open imagining, and something pops in, and it is something that has not ever been created before. I want to define or clarify that term genius. We tend to use it as an adjective to describe a person as a genius. But the actual definition of genius is a noun. It is the genius that is what we get from God. Those ideas that pop in, we go, wow, I don't think anybody's ever thought of this before. We talk about the genius of some of the early classical composers, the Mozarts and so forth. It's like, wow, what happened? Where did that come from? It's that downloading, it's that getting ourselves, our conscious ego minds out of the way so we can open to that download of pure genius. So imagination, of course, is probably one of the most powerful mental faculties we have. Because if you think about it, because it's all in your head, you're thinking about it, right? If you've ever had a kid or a teenager that has taken the car out for the evening, your imagination is probably pretty active about, are they going to come home on time? Are they going to wreck the car? Are they going to, whatever it is going to do? And you can put yourself, your physical self, into a state of panic with imagination. I know I have done it. I have terrified myself about something that has not even happened yet in the future. It is called the future fear, but that imagination is working, and it works on your adrenaline. It works on everything in your body until you are so wrapped up and ready to just explode, until you hear the car in the driveway from the teenager coming home, or you get the phone call that says, I'm on my way. We can go in the other direction. We can whip ourselves into such a frenzy about something that's coming that we're excited about, that the same thing happens. We can increase our heart rate. We can make ourselves flush. If you've ever had a crush on anybody, you know what it feels like in your body, just imagining what it would be like to kiss them, right? So the imagination is magnificently powerful in our lives. The second mental faculty is intuition. And we talk a lot about intuition. The basic for our purposes today in this spiritual practice is intuition is when we listen to God. The flip side of that is when we talk to God. We call that praying, but we're not really listening. A lot of times we're begging, we're pleading with God to fix things. But intuition is when we are actually listening, when we are quiet and still enough to hear the guidance, to hear that little piece of information, to hear something in someone else's conversation. You're walking through the store and you hear somebody just mention something, and you know, here was that little piece of information. You might not even know them, most likely you don't. Or you walk by something else and you see the newspaper and you see a word on the headline and you say, there's that thing that I was thinking about. Here's a piece of guidance. We often get asked the question, and we get asked the question, I get asked the question a lot, how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference between your ego mind trying to find an answer to something and God actually, or Spirit actually giving you a piece of information? And the simplest response to that is, it is never frantic. The voice of intuition often feels like grace. It feels like this gentle, just this little whisper in the ear that says, here you go. Take this step. Take this next step. I had that example happen this week, actually, with our Wednesday night class. Our first one was this past Wednesday. And while I was preparing for that class, I was listening to some classical music, and I shared this with the class because it was absolutely a piece of intuition that became useful in the class that evening. I was sitting preparing, and I was listening to classical music, and this Rachmaninoff piece came on, and it triggered a memory, which we're going to talk about. That's another one of our mental faculties. It triggered a memory of the movie that came out, I think, in the 80s. It was called Shine, with Jeffrey Rush as a child prodigy pianist who just had this horrific relationship with his father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he went off to conservatory to study and all of these kind of things. And what we were talking about in class was getting so focused, getting our mental energy so focused that we literally burn out our synapses. We burn out the chemicals in our brain when we don't take a break to breathe and meditate and so forth. And if you remember that movie, that's exactly what happened to the actor. I don't remember the concert pianist's name, but he had a psychotic breakdown that he never quite recovered from. He never quite recovered to get to the point where he could actually tap into that genius, the natural genius that he had as a pianist. And so that was just a piece of intuition that happened. I followed this lead and I said, I'm going to look that up. And I literally made a note of it, and I thought, oh, this will be good for class somewhere down the road. And then the discussion came up. The discussion came up that night in the Wednesday night book study. So intuition, it's those kinds of things when you play with it, and I call it playing with it, because it's really a dance. It is really a dance with spirit, that you hear something and you say, okay, I hear it, but I'm going to take an action. I'm not just going to let it go on by. I'm going to take an action step. And they're usually small. But what I've found and what we know and the studies show, the more that we do that, the more that we are in that dance. And the more we are in that conscious place of feeling like we're in that flow, where synchronicities show up and what we call coincidences, and wow, I didn't even realize that was going to happen, but look, it just did. And it unfolded in this very graceful, joyful way. So, getting quiet, the importance of getting still for just a few moments, taking a deep breath, taking a yawn, just to turn off the focused circuits in our brains, to give it a rest. Really, we rest our body, we have to rest our brains as well. Cool. So the third mental faculty is memory. And an interesting thing is, of course, everything that we've ever experienced in our life gets stored somewhere in our neural circuits. And there's different kinds, different networks that do different kinds of memories, for motor skills, for fine motor skills, all these things in different parts of the brain that light up when we pull up those memories. What's interesting about memory is we remember the things most that we care about, that we have some kind of an agreement with, that we have an interest in. Meaning, well, let me think about this for a second. I was going to say, you know how you can't remember some people's names? I don't want to suggest that you don't care about them, but there's kind of an element of that there's something not engaging enough about them, or we just say, hi, how you doing, nice to meet you, move on by, because we're too engaged in our own stuff to really connect for a minute to remember the name. And you'll find all kinds of tools, online tools for, brain games and things like that to build your memory strength and power. But one of the cool things is to put together ridiculous combinations to remember somebody's name or to remember something. For me, it's usually words that rhyme. When I'm trying to remember somebody's name, I'll think of an object and I'll look at the person, and there's a reason that I remember the name because I associate them with an object or something along those lines. That's just a very simple example. But again, we can build our memory and slow the aging process to our brain by, guess what? Meditating, getting quiet, and breathing. You kind of see where I'm going with this. And I invite you, if you haven't already, to consider joining us on Wednesday nights, because this is exactly what we're talking about. The book, How God Changes Your Brain, and it is the most recent neuroscience on meditation and the power and the science behind belief. So, just a suggestion. I'll refer to it again later in the wrap up. So we have imagination, we have intuition, we have memory. The fourth mental faculty is reason. It's our ability to see cause and effect. We can reason out using stuff from memory. Okay, past experience said this. If I put my hand on a hot stove, probably going to burn myself. So it's learned stuff. It's coming from memory, but it is the reason to, when you go something else that you haven't experienced yet, you can pull from it and say, I think at this point A to point B, this is probably what's going to happen. I like to refer to the reason thing as the thing that a lot of people on YouTube videos don't exercise. the here, hold my beer, watch this kind of stuff, where you, the viewer, knows probably what's coming next and it's not going to end well. And the person in the video that has lost all sense of reason or shut off that function to say, yep, I'm going to try this, and we all cringe when exactly we know what's coming. Perception is the next mental faculty. And our perception is huge, right? Perception forms every opinion that we've ever had in our life. Perception, again, is a byproduct of memory. It's a byproduct of taking, okay, this happened in the past, therefore I label it bad, and any time from the future on when this thing happens or this person says this thing, my perception is it's bad. But we have that beautiful, wonderful thing called choice. We have been given free will. We have been given that power in our brains that we can consciously say, well, what if? What if that's not bad? What if that's not a bad thing? What if I was taught this? I was conditioned to believe this certain thing. What if I go into another culture? What if I go into a different part of the country, a different part of the world, and I meet people who this is a sacred tradition for them? This experience is a sacred thing for them. What if? They don't call it bad. They call it sacred. So our faculty of perception gives us the opportunity to take a few steps back and, oh yes, once again, take a breath and meditate and say, well, what if? What if I could look at this differently? That's a very, very powerful tool, is it not? And especially right now in our very divided world, I think it is our job, especially in the spiritual practice that we have, in the consciousness practices that we do, that we teach, and that we live, is leaning into that place that says, what if there's something good behind what's happening? What if I don't have to argue with my neighbor? What if I just decided to walk out my front door this morning and smile rather than doing some other gesture with your hand towards your neighbor? Smiling is one of the most powerful, easiest ways to change your mood, lift your spirits, change your thinking. We've all heard probably the studies that it takes about 3 times as many muscles to frown as it does to smile. And smiling at yourself in the mirror in the morning, I laugh at myself sometimes in the mirror in the morning, especially when I see my hair when I first wake up. But it's being able to do that. Everything changes in an instant. We often think in this practice that everything has to be hard and we have to slog through it, and it takes energy and concentrated thought. And the truth is, it doesn't. A simple yawn, a simple smile. So, imagination, intuition, memory, perception, reason. Then the 6th one is will, W-I-L-L. We have it on one of the, where is it? In this room, in our sanctuary, we have quilts of the 12 powers, the 12 powers of unity. It's there in the corner. And it's a beautiful thing. I know you can't put the camera on it. But the power of will is not willpower. The power of will is our mental capacity to give ourselves a conscious command and follow it. So if I say I'm going to do something, the power of will is the energy that says, yes, I'm going to take the action step, I'm going to do this thing, I am going to cause myself to take an action to the next thought or the next step or the next idea. That's the power of will. Again, it's not forcing something to happen. We're easing back into that idea of our practice that this isn't, I'm going to manifest this thing by giving it all of my mental energy and putting all of my thought all over it, and boom, it's supposed to manifest. And of course it doesn't. Because we're trying to force something that is not ours to force. Our job in the power of will is to create the container, to create the idea of the container, to allow intuition to come in, to allow imagination to do its thing, to allow reason, to allow all of these faculties. And the pattern of all of this is, yes, we can identify these things scientifically, and in the neuroscience and all of those things, we can watch the parts of the brain light up when we're doing functional MRIs of different things that we can measure scientifically. But all of these things together that live in this incredible machine, mind-boggling, so to speak. But I like to look at it as the mystery. We have the capacity, all of these capacities that we have been endowed with, and we have used them to categorize and study and compartmentalize and list and name so that we can communicate what it is that we're learning, that we learn about the human body, that we learn about the human brain. But the mystery that I probably will always embrace is I don't want to know it all. I don't, because then what's the point? There's nothing to explore. There would be nothing left to explore. We say, okay, there it is, we figured it all out. And then what? My belief is that the mystery continues. As much as we continue to try to figure out everything that the mechanisms and the chemicals and the electrical stuff that happens in the human brain. It's all good. It is fascinating. And what I know is that the more that I learn about it, my interest in it, and I keep reading about it, and the more we're doing with this book study, the more I realize, as we've probably all heard, the more I know, the more I don't know. And I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. Because I like the mystery. I like to know that I have curiosity, that there are things in the world that are still going to fascinate me until I move on to wherever we go next, whatever form we might take. We might just be, as we see in science fiction often, the floating brain. We might not need bodies anymore. We'd just be these big masses of things, just, hey, how you doing, kind of stuff with, I don't know. But what I do know is that when I am connected in curiosity, when I am connected in the joy of exploring, that is where spirit lives. That is when genius comes through. That is when that breakthrough idea for your business or for your relationship or for some other thing in the human experience, that's when the breakthroughs happen. That's when the ideas come through. And I will circle back to that idea. We get there much more quickly if we would stop and breathe and meditate and contemplate. Go lay in the grass outside and look up at the clouds. If you used to do that as a child, I highly recommend you do it now. Just make sure that if you're in Texas, you find some place that there's not a fire ant mound. Sit in a lawn chair, whatever it might be. But look up at the sky. I know I mention this often, but the night sky in particular, that is the place. My office, my shed, is about 50 yards from the house. And walking back and forth, and sometimes when I'm going out there and working at night, just to stand out and look up and see the constellations. Still fascinates me and blows my mind in a very, very good way. And when I do that, I feel everything calm. Just like yawning, just like taking that breath, everything settles down and I go, okay, right now, right here in this moment, I'm okay. Everything's okay. The stress falls away. The to-do, the crazy mind, monkey mind stuff that we put ourselves into on a daily basis gets quiet for a moment. So I'm going to invite you to get quiet as we move into meditation. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a very short version of what is called a visioning. It's not envisioning and it's not visualizing. It is a practice, and this is where you're going to need your piece of paper. If you don't want to write it down, that's okay. Just enjoy this. But this is a process where we go into that quiet place of the mind and listen for what Spirit is trying to say to us, not what our ego is trying to say to us. But moving into allowing all of that beautiful, creative energy to move through us. So I invite you to take a deep breath. And while we're doing that, I'm going to give you this other quote from Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. But we have created a society that honors the servant and forgets the gift. So we're going to move into the gift, shall we? So take another deep breath. Gently close your eyes. If you feel so inclined, I invite, or you can just do a soft gaze. You don't have to squint your eyes. Everything is easy. Let's make this easy. And all of the information about your mental faculties, you can let go of. If you're curious, let them roll around. Do a little more study. But for right now, know that your brain is operating. And we're going to breathe into that space, and we're going to put our focus and our attention on our heart so that we move away from thinking so hard to feeling. And as you take a deep breath, another deep breath, focus that energy on the breath. And as you feel your body relax and calm and center, I invite you to imagine your happy place. A place that you can go to in your imagination. It may be an actual geographic place, but in your mind you can go there because you know it just makes you feel so good. And you can relax and breathe and notice. And if you find your mind drifting, just bring it back gently. Bring it back to that place. And if you feel any anxiety, maybe saying to yourself, I don't have a place, simply focus on your breath and on your heartbeat. And then invite Spirit in. with a warm greeting, with a smile. Go ahead and smile to yourself now and feel your energy change. Maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's the Buddha, maybe it's Kuan Yin, a spirit guide or an ancestor. Just say hello, let them in. And know that you are being surrounded and supported and lifted up right now. And that anything that may be going on in your life that you need some direction for, go ahead and bring that to mind. And as you breathe and see yourself surrounded by all of this support, we ask this first question. You can ask this of yourself. You can ask it of your guides. What is Spirit's highest ideal for my life right now? And we listen. What is Spirit's highest ideal for my life right now? And if you find yourself overthinking or feeling like you're not doing it right, let that go. Simply write the first thing that has come to your mind. What is Spirit's idea? What is Spirit's highest ideal for my life right now? And knowing that these words that are coming into our minds right now are divinely provided, ask the next question. What do I need to embrace in order for this ideal to be manifest? What do I need to embrace? And we listen with our hearts, not with our heads. We listen with our hearts. And knowing that the words or the pictures or the symbols or the ideas or the colors, whatever is coming to us now, are divinely provided, we ask the next question. What must I release in order for this ideal to become manifest in my life? What must I release? I invite you not to judge anything that comes up, that comes through. Simply write it down. Even if it doesn't make sense at the moment, write it down. And knowing that these words and ideas and symbols and inspirations are divinely provided, we ask the next question. What must I become in order for this ideal to be manifest in my experience? Who or what must I become? And we listen with an open heart without judgment, knowing we are connected in the one mind. What must I become in order for this ideal to manifest in my experience and in my life? And finally, knowing that all of these ideas and these colors and these symbols or these words or these pictures are divinely provided, we ask, is there anything else? Is there anything else I need to know right now? And so knowing that these ideas and these symbols and these words and these pictures, whatever it might be that has come through the one mind into our individual minds to give us the unique piece of information that we alone need. It's for us. Knowing that it is right here, right now, the next piece of information. I invite you to commit to doing one thing in the direction of that ideal. One little baby step, period. And if that feels scary, take a deep breath, yawn, stretch, bring yourself back to that beautiful place that centers you. That is available in every second of your life. And if you're out in the middle of doing your day or taking that step and you feel fear come up again, smile. Smile, yawn. No one will know that you're doing your spiritual practice. So thank you for going deep today. Thank you for giving yourself the gift of playing with your intuition. And thank you for using your imagination in world-changing ways. Baby steps. With a smile, with joy, with love. And while you're still in this nice, beautiful, calm soup, sing along as I go back to the piano, or not, just enjoy. Namaste. Settle back, close your eyes, free your mind, just be. Watch your breath come and go as it takes you out to sea. is here loving you. Hear the oceans roar. Go within, let the peace bring you home once more. Let your thoughts just drift away. You don't need them here. You are in a quiet place where trust replaces fear. Feel the beating of your heart. Feel the air upon your skin. Listen to the silence. God is calling, go within. Listen to the silence. God is calling, go within. Thank you all so much for being here today. This is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to participate in the circulation of the abundance, the infinite abundance that we know God is, that Spirit is, that the universe is. So, there are 4 ways that you can share your gifts with Unity of Wimberley. Those are on your screen right now. You can text on your phone, text GIVE to the number on the screen. You can go to our website, unityofwimberley.com. You'll see several ways, including Apple Pay, to donate your gifts. You can mail a check to Unity of Wimberley, 455 White Wings Road, Wimberley, Texas 78676. Or you can go to our church mobile app and text GIVE. You'll see it on the bottom of your of your screen of your smart device, and you see it right there on the screen. And I ask you to hold whatever gift you have, whatever you may have already given. Hold it up to your heart. Give it some good love energy. Know that we also circulate as a community back into the larger community. We are regular donations, make donations to Crisis Bread Basket. And a little note from them. During the past year, 245 families or households received weekly distributions of nutritious food from the Crisis Bread Basket Pantry. Also, 80 of these families used the services for the first time this last year. You, Unity of Wimberley, and over 500 others in our community responded generously with donations this past year. We were able to increase our support to our neighbors in need during their time of profound uncertainty. We are ready as well to respond and support our community's needs throughout the duration of this pandemic and into future years. 2020 was truly a year of neighbors helping neighbors by providing food and encouragement. We are deeply and sincerely grateful for your support, and we are deeply and sincerely grateful for your support of this community because it allows us to circulate. So with your gifts, with the love you got going on all over that right now, let us say this affirmation of abundance together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. And we're going to do a song now that I think you're going to like singing along with. You ready? Let's do it. can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. That's what happens when you breathe all the time. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. 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 Thank you again so much for being here. Yes, keep breathing. And one day, maybe you can do that as well. Just saying. I'm calm and relaxed. That's how I can do it. All right, so reminding you again, next Sunday, What is God Anyway? As we continue this series, Reverend Jill will be back. What is God Anyway? Wednesday, Zoom class, How God Changes Your Brain. Breakthrough findings from a leading neuroscientist. Andrew Newberg, MD, facilitated by yours truly. There are still a few books available. There are 3 books available here at the church. Get in contact with Leah, and she'll get you one of those copies. Otherwise, ordered on Amazon. Please remember to use your smile.amazon account, and that you are directing those purchases towards Unity of Wimberley. Thank you for doing that. Tune into Facebook Live every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. as Reverend Jill and I share readings, meditations, and affirmations. And we are celebrating the national parks again. Apparently we are in Denali today. Thank you, Sue, for putting us there. Brrr, it's cold. And sunshiny. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Central Time, and you can always see those posts later. And we always encourage you to share them if you're inspired by them. February group events, men's group, next Saturday, February the 13th at 9 a.m. It is a Zoom, or is this one in person? We don't know. Check the website, check the Facebook pages for the details on the men's breakfast. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. Men's group virtual night out, Thursday, February 25th at 5:15 p.m. That is absolutely on Zoom. Wise Women's Brunch, Saturday, February the 27th. It will be on Zoom, again, 10 a.m. and Unity Yoga every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Look for the Zoom links on all of our websites, our Facebook pages, and on the mobile app. You can continue to send your Feed My People donations directly to Crisis Breadbasket, P.O. Box 1721, Wimberley, Texas 78676, or go directly to their website and donate digitally, crisisbreadbasket.com. I think that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and let us say together our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I'm ready. Surprise, I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. There's your disco version.